Manchester United 2-0 Everton. Goals from Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford earned the Red Devils a vital 3 points in their bid for a top-4 place this season. Manchester United reignited their hopes of qualifying for the Champions League after 2 first-half penalties helped them to a 2-0 win over Everton at Old Trafford. Kobbie Mainoo has quickly become one of Manchester United's most important players, with the 18-year-old set to boost his earnings in accordance with his lofty position in the squad. Bruno Fernandes will have incurred the wrath of former Manchester United skipper Roy Keane after he decided to pass over the opportunity to take a penalty once again. Bruno Fernandes handed the ball to Marcus Rashford for Manchester United's second penalty against Everton in a decision which will prove divisive. Gawangpatah has summarized for you. Man United reignite top 4 hopes with victory despite Everton scare. 5 talking points. Manchester United 2-0 Everton. Goals from Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford earned the Red Devils a vital 3 points in their bid for a top 4 place this season. Manchester United reignited their hopes of qualifying for the Champions League after 2 first-half penalties helped them to a 2-0 win over Everton at Old Trafford. Despite a bright start from the Toffees, it was United who took the lead. Bruno Fernandes slotted home from the spot after Alejandro Garnacho was brought down. Erik ten Hag's side weren't at their fluent best, but doubled their advantage in the 36th minute as Marcus Rashford scored from 12 yards. Like the first half, Everton begun the second period brightly, but just couldn't score. The Toffees were lackluster in the final third, while United looked dangerous on the counterattack. Garnacho, who was superb throughout, should have gave the Red Devils on the hour mark, but he failed to hit the target. That didn't matter to the scoreline, however, as United returned to winning ways and gave their top 4 bid a major boost after back-to-back defeats against Fulham and Manchester City. Here are 5 talking points from the match. Fernandes breaks record. After going 15 Premier League matches without scoring, Fernandes was handed an opportunity from the penalty spot to break his barren drought. The 29-year-old, who most previously found the back of the net in the top flight against Fulham in November, kept his composure to give United the lead. Fernandes coolly side-footed the ball into the bottom corner, despite the best efforts of Jordan Pickford, who went the right way but couldn't prevent it from going in. In the process, Fernandes became United's highest-ever penalty scorer with his 29th for the club, having eclipsed Ruud van Nistelrooy, 28. 2-2 for Rashford. Following his wonder strike at Manchester City last weekend, Rashford found the net for the second time in 6 days as he struck from the penalty spot against Everton. Fernandes handed the baton over to the England international, who stuttered before slotting the ball into the corner, sending Pickford the wrong way. That was the 3rd time Rashford has scored a penalty against the Toffees, with the forward also netting from 12 yards in the reverse fixture back in November. He has now scored 5 goals in his last 9 Premier League appearances after a frustrating start to the campaign. Clever Garnacho. If it wasn't for Garnacho, United might not have beaten Everton. He was the difference, especially in the first half, by winning 2 penalties and causing problems all afternoon. In the 11th minute, the Argentine was fouled by James Tarkowski to earn United a spot kick, which Fernandes duly scored. Then later in the half, Garnacho won the Red Devils a second penalty after he glided through the Everton midfield before Ben Godfrey sent him flying to the deck, with Rashford converting this time. Moments before the break, Garnacho had an opportunity to score himself after Scott McTominay played him through on goal, but he took too long and Jared Branthwaite got back to prevent the danger. He had another chance minutes into the second half, but blazed the ball over. Everton their own worst enemy. Heading into the trip to Old Trafford, only Liverpool had missed more big chances than Everton in the Premier League this season. And the Toffees showed exactly why they are struggling in front of goal. Sean Dyche's men dominated large spells of the game, but were undone after failing to convert their opportunities. Throughout the match, Everton had 23 shots, 8 more than United, including 6 on target. They also created 1 big chance and could have scored on a number of occasions. But the Toffees failed to find the net, and that's the 8th time in 11 Premier League matches that they have drew a blank. Whether it's a confidence issue or not, but the Toffees are definitely lacking killer instinct in the penalty area, and that could cost them survival this season. They currently sit 16th, 5 points above 18th place Luton, who face Crystal Palace in their game in hand at 3 p.m. on Saturday. United handed Champions League boost. With Aston Villa and Tottenham facing off against each other on Sunday, United needed to beat Everton to crank up the pressure on the two above them in the Champions League race. It wasn't the most accomplished performance from the Red Devils, but they did enough to win the game. Victory for Ten Hag's side moves them to within 2 points of 5th-place Tottenham and 8 behind Villa in 4th. However, United could fall further off the pace with Spurs boasting 2 games in hand, while Unai Emery's Villa have played 1 match fewer. Due to a revamp of the Champions League format, 5th place might secure qualification for Europe's elite club competition, but United will no doubt have their sights set on the top 4 just in case. United face Liverpool in the FA Cup quarter-final next weekend, but are next in Premier League action against Brentford on March 30th. Kobbie Mainoo set for new Man United contract with clauses to put him among club's highest earners. Kobbie Mainoo has quickly become one of Manchester United's most important players, with the 18-year-old set to boost his earnings in accordance with his lofty position in the squad. Teenage Manchester United sensation Kobbie Mainoo is set to treble his Old Trafford money to £60,000 a week. Mainoo, who only triggered a new deal taking his wages to £20,000 a week when he made his 10th first-team appearance, is going to be rewarded with another 300% pay rise after forcing his way into Erik ten Hag's plans with a string of impressive performances. It is seen as a deserved reward for the 18-year-old Manchester-born midfielder. His current contract runs until 2027, although United have the option of a further 12-month extension. But talks have already started about persuading Mainoo to extend until 2030. And the new deal will include a series of triggers that will make him one of the club's best earners should his stellar progress continue over the coming years. The 18-year-old was handed another start against Everton at Old Trafford, as he comfortably outshone his veteran midfield partner Casemiro during the 2-0 win. And speaking before the game, former United skipper Wayne Rooney heaped praise on the Wonder Kid, comparing him to legendary Germany international Bastian Schweinsteiger. Appearing as a pundit for TNT Sports, Rooney said, "I think he's been incredible at such a young age. The maturity he's shown, when you see any young player break into the first team, they can seem a bit raw, but he reminds me of a young Bastian Schweinsteiger in how he plays, enticing players in. He always seems to make the right decisions. I think he's got a really bright future." Mainoo is already attracting admiring glances from England boss Gareth Southgate ahead of the Euros. Southgate will name his squad for the prestigious Wembley friendlies against Brazil and Belgium next week and has a decision to make on Calvin Phillips, the Manchester City midfielder featured at the last Euros and the World Cup. But a loan move to West Ham has not worked out as expected, and he is struggling to make the cut for Germany. That could open the door further for Mainoo. Bruno Fernandes moment cameras didn't catch will have left Roy Keane fuming. Bruno Fernandes will have incurred the wrath of former Manchester United skipper Roy Keane after he decided to pass over the opportunity to take a penalty once again. Bruno Fernandes handed the ball to Marcus Rashford for Manchester United's second penalty against Everton in a decision which will prove divisive. United won 2 penalties in the first half at Old Trafford on Saturday as Alejandro Garnacho wreaked havoc. Fernandes claimed the first one after James Tarkowski's trip and beat Jordan Pickford with a low side-footed effort, which saw him become the club's all-time top scorer from the penalty spot. But when Ben Godfrey dived in and clattered Garnacho minutes later, the United skipper did not collect the ball and step up once again. Instead, Fernandes handed over the ball to Rashford and, after a stuttered run-up, he whipped the ball into the corner to make it 2-0 before the break. The incident was initially missed on TNT Sports live TV coverage, but emerged shortly after the penalty was scored. The decision could be viewed as showing strong team spirit, and United went on to win the game fairly comfortably. But it is unlikely to have gone down well with former skipper Roy Keane, who was furious at Fernandes for letting Rashford take a penalty in their 3-0 win over Everton back in November. After Erik ten Hag praised Fernandes' decision, Keane let rip on Sky Sports, saying, "He's giving toffee out there to Bruno for passing on the ball for the penalty. Absolute B********** rubbish. Absolute rubbish coming out with that. Manchester United are 6th now. If you went back a few years, if you were 6th you'd be embarrassed. But obviously they seem happy with 6th. They have a long way to go. Manchester United have to be competing with the best teams.